believe I started my tertiary institution. A lot of people don't know this. Which college of education.
Wow.
I was struggling with admission then. Yeah, I was struggling with admission, and my parents were like, you know what? No knowledge is wasted. So go to college of education. There was a private one. There's another discovery that I made about myself.
Oh.
I realized that I think I function. There's this thing we call optimum efficiency.
Yeah.
I function at my best productivity when I'm in a segment, when I'm in a job description that afford me the privilege to interface with people.
Yeah. Tech Expert gave you the platform. After Tech Expert, how do you leave Tech Expert? How many months do you spend in Tech Expert? What happened?
Stuff, right? I joined 2019 and I left January 2020. I believe
that's like
9 months.
6 months?
Yeah, like around 9 months, 8 months.
9 months, okay,
yeah. It was an awesome experience. I learned a lot.
Within that 9 months.
I'm telling you, it was. Let me start with the training. There was this joke we normally crack. It was an awesome experience. 2 months training was like a 4-year course. I'm telling you.
See, give it to them. No, let's give it to those guys. Honestly, a lot of people say shit about Tech Expert today, and sometimes
I'm never going to take that away from them.
My interpretation about the shit they say is because of their own shit. I don't know the management style at the moment, but when we started then, the foundation was perfect.
Solid.
That 2 month training, I think my own training was 3 months, 3 good months, so I can relate with you. Yeah. So proceed.
Thank you. So after the training, we got introduced to the production floor. We started handling live tickets, attending to customers. A number of lessons I learned. I made some very good friends. Some of them are no longer in the country that I reside. Some are still there. Some have moved on. I got to understand the power of network. I mean, come on. It was then, during that phase, that I get to meet this very lovely man, Mr. Martin. I'm talking to today. It was around that phase that I met. I remember when we have.
Yeah, I met you. I met you in the floor when you have one issue with one case, and I think you were sitting very close down to church. And I think one of my young boys, Ayola, right?
Yes, correct.
I remember.
Olalika will always say, I have this senior man on the 8th floor or something, another like 2 floors away from where we work. We're on the 6th floor. Let's go there. And this very humble man, sometimes we even take his time to come down to our floor and say, hey, show me the EXO issue. Show me the ticket. That was how we met then. And then so we made friends. We explore the power of networks, and that really helped with information. You see, one of my mentors will always say a lot of things that people don't understand when they are approaching the topic of wealth is that they just see money. No, money is like the consequence variable. There are some things that are the pillars.
Fundamental.
Access to information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Money is like the outcome of.
Thank you.
It's not only, and I think it's what to say. That's one of the things a lot of people are getting wrong today. People are putting money.
Absolutely. Telling you. So you are very eager. You find that delicate balance to be in the rooms that matters, to make friends that matters. That way you get access to information that matters to time. You get it now. So around the 6th month, I remember then, as at the time I left, Tech Expert, I wasn't a confirmed employee. I think I have like a month left before I become confirmed. That's why it was a bit easy for me to disengage. So I belong to a team of 42 engineers, 42 support engineers. We use waves, like with 8, 9, 10, something like that. I started as support engineer, and then I moved on to POC, point of contact. And I think I was promoted to I can't remember the title. We worked with Hydra. There was Hydra then. We handle escalation.
Okay. Escalation. I think something like that. I know what you're saying.
So before that time, another thing that I've learned has already been in effect. which is the notion of always not being stagnant.
Yeah.
Because the notion of stagnation is an illusion unless you can pause the time. If you can pause time, it's either you're moving forward or you're moving backward.
Yeah.
So we got access to information. We took courses. We get to, TechExpert is a multinational company. Nigerian site is just one of the many sites. We got talking with some of the other guys. Thank you. So and this is arguable, this is subjective. Personally, I wasn't. Again, I'm not going to attribute this to TechExpert. I'm just to be very clear. I just felt I wasn't moving at a pace of progress that I like. As a very young guy that I crossed paths. I was never from the IT world. My first degree course was never in IT.
So that means that at some point you are getting too comfortable.
Yes.
You've known it all, and not at the pace that you want to move because you actually have a direction. It's because you have a direction. Yeah. So
I think it's more of that later part. I wouldn't say I know it all, but it was more of that later part. The direction, it wasn't like aligning with what I envisaged for myself. And I understand something. I've understand one thing very early in life is that you need to understand that everything exists for a purpose. If this particular guy has served its purpose, you need to have the wisdom to know that, okay, I don't need to take it personal. It's just that this person has served the purpose. It's supposed to serve my life, and then I need to move on. So that was what I did then. I resigned. Funny enough, this is the funny part. When I was resigning, the job I was looking at was a bit dicey. It wasn't 100% sure. So I had to have a plan B. Okay, so there was this partner that was just coming up. Yep. It was Upwork. Things were not looking very rosy. There was this clause.
So let's get it right.
Sure.
Have you gotten the contract from Upwork before you resigned?
Nah.
So so that means that you resigned to pursue your career path with Upwork.
Yes.
So not that.
Let me go deep there, because I really like to share this part.
Yeah.
So when I got to that point, I got the clause that, okay, we can let you do the last stage of the interview if you're still with this client. It doesn't work with our rules of engagement, right? So I told myself, I said, number one, it's not, because a lot of people make this mistake in their career. I said, it's not smart for me to left what I already have in my hand in pursuit of something that I may or may not get.
Yeah.
So then what I used as a backup plan was the First Bank graduate trainee program. I already started that before.
Yeah. A lot of them.
So I said,
banks,
exactly. I said, if the Upwork gig doesn't work out, I'm just going to default back to the First Bank graduate trainee. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. The Upwork did not work out at the first attempt.
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't.
So now that you didn't even get the Upwork gig after you resigned.
Yeah. I left TechExpert January. The second week of January, I remember very well, 2020. I did not get in contact with Upwork till the third or the fourth week of April of that same year. So around that time, I left Lagos. I tried to get back to the First Bank, but that was when COVID. I think COVID started then.
Yeah.
So they didn't call them back till like September, which of course things were already looking good for me then. So I just was trying my luck. The original contact was the commercial department of Upwork. Mm-hmm. And when that one didn't work out, I moved on. I was doing some freelance before I came into IT. So I just went back to my freelance. I was taking some courses on the side. And then the lady that interviewed me, I was angry. But thank God for some teachings that we've known earlier in life that keep things respectful, keep things cordial, even when you are not happy with the outcome. But I thank the lady. I can never forget that lady. I thanked the lady. I said, I already resigned. Dua, very lovely lady.
I think Dua is one of recruiter or sourcer that she has been able to recruit one of the best.
She's
we have today. I think Upwork needs to give her flower. She's the one that actually got me, into the system too, right? Okay, so what? Just with what you are saying, are we going to say COVID played a vital role in freelancing in Nigeria? You're looking at your transformation from tech, and at some point, the gig freelancing doesn't come in, and at some point, COVID comes in. The demand for Microsoft Teams gets increased. The demand for remote or having like a remote systems increased, and so the demand for the labor actually increased in Africa. I'm gonna say freelancing in Africa, COVID. What relationship could you drive out of those two?
It's a very interesting dynamics, because you see, you have to say it this way. When we want to talk about this subject, think about the employer side, and then the employee side. In my own understanding, what COVID did was it opened the eyes. It opened the eyes of both departments, the employee, the employers. It was around that time that, given the inconvenience that came with pandemic, the restriction in mobility and moving around, people start to develop more interest, start to actively search for work opportunities that they could do in the comfort of their home. If you go to the employer side, it was around that time COVID really fast forwarded the curiosity, the execution on the employer's part to make things work. Because now, it was around that time that employers were telling people that were already working from the office that, okay, you know what, we're going to reduce things. We're going to change things up a little bit. Work from home 3 days out of 5 days. You can come to work 2 days out of 5 days.
And that's what they never believe. Just like what. And I'm
Thank you.
I'm going to use this big privilege to talk about in one of the great books that one of my, our leader, we're still together. Demesi Lopez wrote, the leading the unknown, the strategy for leading the remote or gig teams. And he wrote something in one of the chapters. He talked about the pandemic pressure, distinguishing the true leadership from the pretender. Now, it says something. Let me just read the first paragraph. There. It says COVID-19 pandemic served as a motivated learning experience, influencing areas ranging from remote work practices to a deeper appreciation of life and freedom. Now, the life and freedom is what I want to say, because I know while you're working in tech expert, you must be traveling like long distance to work every day. You must be waking up, when you now started, doing freelancing, when you just have to, wake up from your bed to your workstation. And I think this actually, I would say, COVID plays, pandemics put a lot of pressure to set a lot of life and freedom, to set a lot of people free. Even the people doing the physical jobs, even tech expert, then I remember, they have to relocate all their staffs to, hotels, and they have to start, telling some of their staff to start working from home, So, I agree with what you're saying.
Absolutely.
To some extent in Africa, COVID played vital role to force a lot of employers to adopt reality about the new way of working and adopting the remote gigs here.
It forces them to explore, especially for those that never entertained the idea. It forces them to explore, and in the process of exploration, they come to discover their advantage. And many of them they ended up being a very strong proponent of that style of working. It saves cost. It's very effective for both the employer and the employee. It increases productivity. Like you said, you see, when you mention the time of the part of time I spent on the road, you see me smiling because that was an interesting part of my life. Statistically, I will tell you that I waste 35% of the time daily on the road. And when you take that back to the freelance concepts now, I mean, come on, I can say less than 2%, less than 1%. So
you don't have enough time. You have some times for something that seems to be more useful for yourself, what sort of things.
Exactly.
So I think freelancing in Africa, poses a lot of opportunities, for I would say for employers, but I think, just like, this same book says, adaptability is very, very important, in this way of working. So and that's a great one. So that's how you got to
Upwork.
M365.
Yes.
At what role do you start with Upwork, Microsoft?
I started as the support engineer, front line. I think that is like the lowest, not lowest, because responsibility are relative. There's no higher. Yeah, so I started as a support.
You
can put it that
way. And you talk about Windows, yeah?
Yes, Windows, OneDrive, Microsoft Office. Consumer subscription. As family subscription, personal subscription, and then they have that's Microsoft 365 apps. I think that's what we call it now. So
you were POC commercial support.
Adaptability.
Okay, I think
you adapt.
You know where I'm going, yeah. But okay, wait. Let me laugh. You were POC tech expert, like team lead. And you have to start again,
sure,
maybe from another line of business, because M365 then you're supporting more commercial products, SharePoint, Exchange, Teams, and OneDrive. But now, with different products entirely, with different set of people, because the audience in commercials are different from the audience in consumer, right?
Very different.
And what could you say? How easy was it for you? Because before now you'd be talking to IT administrators, because they are the one managing most of those commercial accounts. Now in this case, you have to go talking directly to the to the consumers. That's age people, teenagers. How the transformation, the transition? How easy was it for you?
I mean, I'm not going to say so that the scripts can look good or sound good. It was easy. It wasn't. And okay, just to summarize, the drive was really one of the things that really helped me. I always say something that I'm not afraid to start all over again if that is the only meaningful way forward, right? I'm not going to lie. It gave me some sleepless nights. That's moving from concierge. I'm not even attending to customer directly again. I'm attending to issues that my fellow support engineers cannot resolve, and then I move from all of that to talking with kids that's having an issue with their Office subscription. But again, here's what I learned: the what do you call it now? The audience, in terms of the scope, the size, the difference, the different kind of profile that you get to work with in the consumer support. So I started it. In the process when I started, I had to do some re-education for myself. They said literacy in the 21st century is the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn.
I agree with that. You need to unlearn some culture, traditions from where you're coming from, And I think that's another thing that I'm going to ask, which align with what you're saying. You're coming from a reactive side, tech expert, and of course it was still reactive. But would you say the culture and traditions were the same, comparing to where you're coming from to when you now find yourself with Upwork gig? In terms of structure, it's not the same because you're not interfacing with physical people any longer. You're not interfacing with colleagues across the globe. You are not going through traffic, orders of life, sometimes you are all alone in your room talking to your system, and a lot of transition, because we're talking about transition from the technical side, which you tell me that you have to learn and unlearn, and it wasn't easy. I agree, but transition from the culture, organizational culture and tradition. So what will you say about that?
I think at this point I'm going to stress heavily that we call this thing organization culture, or is the organization's culture. It was different. There's some very basic principles that when you when you join a workspace, it defines everything they do.
Yeah.
Yes, now Now, I'm not going to sit and do comparative analysis and say this one is best, this one is bad, but just to straight up answer the question, it was different. The orientation was different. It was like moving from a quantitative philosophy to qualitative philosophy. You guys now. So it was then I get to understand that there's a clear difference between running that kind of system as a call center or as a support center. You guys now. And given that the caliber of customers we deal with, they on average, statistically, they are not technically savvy compared to the kind of audience, the kind of customer you deal with in a commercial line of business. So that in itself necessitates that you use a different. And then the leadership of that particular company that I joined back then, I think the leadership has done a very excellent job to
Let's give it to him. What's his name? You mean
Nuri.
Lopez?
Yes,
Lopez.
Mr. Nuri. Yeah. So there was a very serious investment into making everybody who walk in through the door understand that, hey, this is the culture.
I think he was trying, just like in his book, and I'm going to recommend to people to get his book, Strategies for Leading Remote or Gig Teams. He talks about the organizational structure and culture, and I think he was trying to paint, an analogy of flat organization. He said, even he emphasized in his book, says that, the aspect, he said that it's where he was talking about the organizational structure and culture, he said, I'm going to explore the importance of flat organizations hierarchy, fostering a servant mindset among leaders, which I'm not comparing. Where you're coming from, it's not a flat organization. Where you're coming from, there is engineer, there is POC, there is hierarchy, there is manager, there is ops manager, and all sort of a thing. But I think in their own culture and with what he wrote in his book, he was trying to express what he calls servant mindset among our leaders. So it's not about go and do this, about you're going to do it yourself first and show others how to get it done. And he said, in his book, he also addressed the challenges that comes with it, which is like loneliness, working in a remote setting, and
that's true.
I think it's worth to read this book. He addressed a lot about those organizations, culture and tradition. But back to you, how was it easy for you to actually adapt with that flat organization hierarchy of the thing and in the new settings that you find yourself when you joined the Oppo?
Okay, so let me put it this way. For a candidate, I'm trying to say this in a way that will really make sense to a lot of people. Say it this way: if you already have the intention, like your own objective, it aligns already. Like you are a kind of person that cares. Let me go back 2 steps. I've raised ticket before with banks, with e-commerce. I have seen how shitty, allow me to use that word, that customer support can treat you sometimes. I know firsthand how frustrated a customer can get. So me as an individual, one thing that makes me happy when I come to work, when I'm closing for work, is that for each ticket I pick, it's not a ticket, it's an individual somewhere. I am able to
that's
say,
another mentality. So the impact you've been able to make on people, not because you pick a ticket and you want to get paid for it.
Thank you. The customer is able to say, I met a guy today. He made my day. So because me, I already have that mindset, that is how I see the work. Coming to a workspace where the pillar, the culture, reinforces that. The pillar makes it clear to all the leaders. Yes, there's a clear organogram, but it makes it clear to all the leaders that you are supposed to give me everything I need to be able to make that happen. I request that a colleague join me on a call. They're not going to stand in my way, because we both understand that we will go to any extent to help this customer. We exist because of them. So that really make it. It makes it a very what's this word? It was an adventurous experience.
It inspires you to want to go extra miles without feeling it.
And that is why I said it with utmost humility. That is why I didn't spend more than 6 months as an agent before I got promoted to a team lead. Wow. I didn't spend more than 7 months as a team lead before I got promoted to an upstate. So there was that alignment. So everything you do,
So are you going to say that you feel that you're not that, even though you're not comfortable, but you feel the outcome of not you being comfortable, that career growth. And
thank you. Yeah, that's a very delicate, very perfect way to put it. Like it's worth the risk. It's worth the investment. You get, sometimes when you submit yourself to this style of working, this philosophy, especially when we limit it to customer service, this school of thought, when you submit yourself totally to that approach, at first it might not be, because some customer will not even appreciate the help at first.
Yeah.
You guys now, but when you submit yourself to it, you are not confused about the result, the advantage.
That's it.
You will have, it's like you have rainy season, you have dry season, you have winter, summer, but in the end, when those feedbacks start coming in, you don't ask the customer to send the email. They sit down, take the time to type 200 words of appreciation. This thing about customer retention, brand loyalty, everything falling. Exactly.
All right, so to the audience, as straight who you are today, as you've said, from engineer you became team lead, from team lead you become an operational lead under that leadership, and that's a great thing. And I would say the passion actually inspires this. It's not that you're putting money first. It's just because you want to make impact, you're not comfortable with who you are, or the position you are, and you're giving your best, and it's actually reflecting in what you become. Now you are, if I'm not mistaken, you are M365 commercial operation manager. So which means that at some point, you left the proactive side of the business, to the reactive side of the business. But before going, I want to say, aside from working under Nuri Lopez, what are that? If I say what I just want 2 things that you say that you learned from that man, what would that be?
Number 1 is going to be empowerment.
Empowering people.
As a leader, yes, empowerment. As a leader, I've come to understand. You already said that sentence earlier when we were talking, that we need to do this. I mean, I could subscribe to the method of teaching you step by step, almost like spoon feeding you.
Yeah.
That's an approach. I could help you. I could pay attention to you, take my time to study you, and help you wake up something inside you, such that when I leave the room, you will do the job better than I even want it.
Yeah.
Empowerment.
Yeah.
I help you understand yourself. I help you understand the mission. And then I let you do your magic. Empowerment.
And give you that freedom, not micromanage you.
To innovate.
And trust you with that confidence and courage. I empower you. I give you that confidence and courage. I give you the freedom, get it done.
Exactly.
I think you're right.
Exactly.
I think you're right. I agree with that. That guy, that man has empowered a lot of people. People that they don't even know that they have the potentials
to do
and
it.
They not see them doing those great things, leading people, getting results and all sorts of things. And what?
And passion. You see, after I left, and this is not just sweet words. Any chance I get, I always tell my colleagues where I am now that, man, this thing that happened made me remember my days with Nuri. You guys now, when you bring 2 individuals, give a task. It's a simple experiment. Give a simple task to 2 individuals. The person that has passion, the person that doesn't have passion for it, even though the 2 of them achieve results, I'm telling you, the quality, the finesse,
of course,
that they will use to execute each stage of the work is going to be different.
What I say, just inspire the next leaders. was instrumental to your operational and tactical management that makes your operation one of the top. Remember, we pick up consumer from 4.12. You left consumer with 4.75 or 4.8, if I'm not mistaken. That's a great success. In terms of data representation, playing with data, you put a lot of structure. Even when you're working with some leaders like Alex McDonough, you work directly under him, and I think you also work under Erin, and they've said this several times, one of your very, very big strength is working with data, and just like Nuri always says, after God is data, So what would you say was instrumental, to that success trait that you have?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the very kind words, by the way. It means a lot. Honestly, it's like a portion. It's a bit of small things, but some things that stand out. I will say there's this thing they call, in networking we say, non-networking we say single point of failure. Like the strongest, to measure the strength of a team, you have to use the weakest link. That's how strong you are. I think one of the things that really helped us back then, like we have to take it back to the individual level.
Yeah,
we paid attention. You see, it's much easier to get carried away just looking at the strength of whole. But when you start to measure, when you try to measure the strength of whole by looking at the individual pieces that makes up the whole. So you look at each individual member of the team. It's a philosophy of quality over quantity. I don't need, it will help me if I go to this battle with 100 people. But hey, are all these 100 people ready to do what is needed? If it's just 60 that can do it, let me work with that 60.
Setting the foundation for your team.
Thank you. So we were able to explore some things. It goes as far as even modifying the contract to make sure that the people we have, even though if we're not able to achieve 100%, at least 90% of what we have, when it comes to the qualitative evaluation, there are people that we know that yes, anytime, wake them up, any moment, they are ready. They have the interest of the business and they see the business as their business. They don't want it to fail. They are not thinking in a reactive style. They're thinking proactively. That's one. Two is the approach of data that you said. We submit ourselves to that school of thought. Sometimes we have an idea of what could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it becomes a doctrine that no. Collect data.
And let the data guide you to whatsoever. Let the data give you the insight of what to do.
Thank you. Without the data, you're just, whatever you say is an opinion. Yes, we respect your years of experience, but get the data. That curiosity, that professionalism, channel it to create a very brilliant data collection instrument. Get the data about the problem. Let the data guide you. And that really helped us to really, to know what to prioritize, to get ideas, to get insights about how to go about problem solving. And honestly, people that are already using that style, they enjoy working that way. When you're looking at them from afar, you will want to feel pity that this is a very messed up problem. But when you come closer to them, they are doing it with joy because it's like you're getting a script from an oracle. You know exactly what is wrong. You have a very clear idea about how to go about solving it. There's this smart approach to measurable, time bound, all those things. We inculcate that very much. We are not very consumed with solving a problem in one day, getting results in one day. We said scalable.
Organic growth.
Thank you. Something scalable. We are sure in 3 months we're going to get it done. So if we don't move from -2 to 8/10 today, it's not a problem. If we move from -2 to -1 today, it's progress. We will study what made us move from -2 to -1.
You want to, every day you want to get better than what you have.
Thank you.
The passion to move
You always
forward.
say one thing. I think I should quote you. Say, I'm not looking at the next guy as competition. I'm trying to beat what I did yesterday. That's my competition. I am my competition.
No, I was identified by Doha. I was interviewed by Clement Gomez. It was my first operation manager. Janelle onboarded me. Those two guys were integral to some of the foundation because I think those two guys also onboarded you. your first operation manager,
Right.
you know. Gomez
Right.
also is like, I would say it's also like another part of Nuri, because I think this always been like somebody that is the right hand man of Nuri for years, you know. So, and I think you're still within the line of trade of that same man, you know, Lopez, you know.
Clement Gomez is my boss now. See, this is why we say it, because the same pot of delicacy, you know, that creates likes of Nuri. It's like a one big family. When you want to talk about sharp colors, you know, like at people in art department say, in sharp color family, there are some colors inside sharp color category. So Nuri is like one of the color. Clement is like another color inside that.
Inside that category. No, it's one of I need to give him those flowers. So I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot because then I was dealing with him directly at some point, you know, and I was also privileged to work with the likes of Erin. You know, I learned a lot from her too, right? As I think, so looking at Reactive, you are now the M365 Global Operation Manager, and congratulations on your new role. You know, of course, I think you now hold more of senior roles there, so I'm not surprised. Looking at the vital roles that you play in your current organization, how easy is that? Do you think that you've been prepared for that, and it was very easy for you to deliver on that your new role?
Honestly, with utmost humility, I would say yes. You know, there are sometimes some very fun moments when they will I would be approached and say, okay, we need you to start representing us in this kind of meeting. This is what we'll present.
So you've been doing this for you left, man.
Wait. I'm just going to smile.
You've been relating with the likes of Brad, David, you know, the likes of Aniket, you know, the stakeholders in Amplified team,
and I'm just going to smile and say, well, I was just waiting for you to start putting your big guns to use. I mean, I do this in my sleep.
You've been doing this, you know, you know, and that's one thing too, you know, talking about Nuri then, you know, it's another leader. He wants to be the front end. This guy just, you know, give us those freedom. We're dealing with this and I think that like it's gonna be very easy. That's not like the easiest job you are doing at the moment.
You know, and in a way, I'm even exposing my own guys to that. But just to get back to the question, yes, it was new challenges are coming up, which is what makes the job really fun. Anyway, we find ourselves,
of course,
new stuff, new program, new problems, new challenge. We solve. I always tell people, when you see problem and you are sad, not us. We solve problem for a living. So when we see problem, we're happy to, you know, just devise
the biggest challenge of remote work or freelance is identity. And I would know that as a Nigeria, you face a lot of challenge, you know, managing the right identity behind the scene, you know. And some people have taken the advantage of this limitation at the moment, you know, in remote work. I would say Nigerians, you know, which is actually blocking a lot of way for other Nigerians. I don't know what I'm saying, you know, people, you know, standing in place of people writing, doing interviews on their behalves, you know, people taking people account and working on their behalves, you know. And recently I learned that in your organization there's a ban on recruiting from you. Maybe Nigeria is just like because we care about our community, we want changes, we want things to happen. That's why we are talking about it. Some leaders won't talk about it because they protect, you know, the bad dealers in their own community. I want my own country, my community to be great, and I kept talking about this. I kept, you know, bringing out these, you know, conversations from leaders. You know, what do you think is the way forward? What is one advice you're going to give to Nigerians? What are you going to tell them that we need to keep planting the trees? The likes of Teller, the likes of George, you know, if they've caught the tree, they've done bad in the set of people that started, you know, maybe you and I wouldn't get the opportunity today. The likes of me have done so bad thing, likes of you have done so bad thing. Hundreds of people that are in the program today wouldn't be in the program. But like the new generations, they don't care. They don't care about watering the
you see, kids, this is why.
So what's your opinion? And that's where we're going to end today.
this is where I'm going to give this. This is a very. I'm not going to. You see that my energy level kind of go down because it's very sad. Trust me, it's very sad. It's something that this is my response. I'm going to give it a two answer response. The first one is that even though it looks like as if it's not working, I don't think we can stop. We have to keep preaching integrity.
Yeah.
Yes, now we have to keep preaching it, appealing to people's sense of humanity, their logic, their ration, their reason. That if people before you have messed up,
yeah,
I mean, unless you are an individual that I don't have a name for, at some point you will sit down and evaluate how much damage you are doing to your world, to your surrounding. Unless someone is a maniac, at some point you will evaluate and you just chill out. Like, okay, you know what? Just let me calm down. So we need to continue appealing to the sense of reason of people and making them understand how much of a damage there's the nominal damage, there's the real damage. Now the second thing, because in some situations you will be forced to see things like, I don't think this is working. I've been in that situation a couple of times. In fact, recently, and I told myself I'm going to go a bit to my criminology training back in school, because I did introduction to criminology, Lombroso theory of crime. You have to make cost. You have to make the cost outweigh the benefits. At some point, I think we just have to take, while protecting. I get what you said. It's a reality. It's not like Nigeria is the
quality of the leaders in those communities. Like I always tell people, I'm not always trying to talk about the bad things within my own community, because I'll keep calling them out because I want change. I'll keep investing time, putting out content out there to educate, to re-evaluate people, so that more people can change. Because that's the only thing we can do, right? You can link it with a lot of things. Is it greed? There are greeds everywhere. Is it poverty? There are poverty in some, in other countries and the likes, but it doesn't still leave the fact that they are great people. It doesn't leave the fact that some people genuinely need this job. It doesn't leave the fact that some people are genuinely doing this great job and they are delivering well. Go to any platform, go to any organization, top 5 you're gonna find Nigerians. Top 5, top leaders you're gonna find Nigerians. Yeah. So I agree with your school of thought, about this. And that's why we have to let people know. We are it's just us against us. We are competing with ourselves. We want to make the country to be great. You want to make your name to be great. You don't want to give your family name bad names and out there, right? Then you have to do the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to end with that. Some sort of community policing in a way that. I'm not doing this with the notion of exaggerating the crime rate in my country, but if it is this small bit I can do to make this person understand that.
Make my own impact,
Thank you. Everybody should do
it.
I
can't think about it. A lot of family depend on these jobs.
Yeah.
So why would you want to see somebody just take away, your source of income? Takes away, your how you actually, what is feeding your family, your extended family. I agree. Community policing,
So at that point, I think it's not going to be the 100% solution, but we will be getting some results, and we're just going to count our blessing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ifeoluwa Amao. It's been a long, I think we're gonna have episode. We're gonna be episode on this conversation. It's been a long conversation, and I really want to, thank you for making our time, to come and share your stories. Slum2Cloud podcast by Martini. It's just, something about me is that I'm a community person. Every time when I wake up, I just want to see what are the other things that we can do that can actually inspire life. It's just one life, 2 lives that we can inspire, and somebody can see this video and say, oh, I think I can start towards this path. I can start my own strategy. I can start my own approach. I can start reading some books. I have some couple of books, and of course, for making our time to be here today. Trust me, before next month, you're going to get your book. I'm giving every person I bring on this show, I'm giving out Nuri's book because it's all about, we're talking about freelancing, we're talking about strategies, we're talking about leading remote environment. We're talking about the new way of leading, and the leading your own book is a great one. You have that. You have one book from me. you know.
Thank
And
you
there are
very
also
much.
some books I've read. You know, I always say something every time I travel. One thing that's very certain is that I'm going to get a new book from Nuri. You know, Reinventing Organization. I've read this book too. It's a great book, you know, that actually impacts my, you know, my strategy. And then another book, Atomic Habits, you know, by James Clear. You know, it's one great book. Ifeoluwa, thank you. And
Thank you very much, Martin.
God bless you. You have a
Thank
wonderful
you very much. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.